Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon and today I'm going to show you how to set up, play and review the game Pret-a-Porter, 3rd edition by Ignacy Trzewiczek, by Portal Games as well. Okay, so this has a Kickstarter appreciation in it, you'll see that in due course. If you want to know a bit more about the history about Pret-a-Porter, what it's about, the theme, also about this jumper that I wore in the unboxing and my history to do with fashion and stuff like that, please, as always, check out the playlist relating to the unboxing videos, the overview trailer, these previews, as it gives a good indication also of what's also going to be coming to the channel. So I'll be setting this game up, and I'll be setting up as if it's a 2-player game. It's also going to be in various other playlists, such as, of course, the How to Set Up, Play and Review, the AmassGames playlist, and it might be a little controversial. It's also going to go in, considering I can't hardly say the word, the family weight one, because personally, I did not find it to be as complex as the 3.63 on Board Game Geek implied. There were some times I had to watch a few different rules videos, and then I still wasn't certainly clear, and the same applied to the rulebook to a degree, but I'll come back onto that. In the meantime, I've zoomed this out to a fair degree, but as you can see, don't worry about the top of it, that's just a bit of the score track, and don't worry about the bank as well too much. Okay, so right down the bottom here, we have some things, these are resources, and I'll get up to the due course. I'll pick one of these player boards. I last played with this one, so I'm going to pick something different. Let's go for this one. Put them away. And just to let you know, these are double-sided, so you can play whoever you wish to be as well. It's just a colour, there's nothing else to it. There are various cards in play. We have runway cards, so you want to be getting these out in a moment. You also want to be randomly picking one of these things. So I haven't been the jacket, the shirt person yet. So these are the starting cards that you're going to be dealing with. So someone else is going to take one, or depending on the number of players, of course one each with one left over. You're going to be taking your starting cards. In this instance, you're taking 17 and 26. And I'm just going to put out the rest of the stuff. There's some loan cards here, which for now I'm going to leave back in the box. Mainly because, to be honest, we've hardly touched the loan money. I think we're very efficient, but it's something I could consider taking. So just whilst I'm grabbing some of these things, I'm going to say, please ensure you hit the like button. Please share. Please also, just whilst you're doing that, please ensure you check out the comments and descriptions for any mistakes or goofs. I do not intend there to be any. And finally, if you haven't already, check out the description where you can find links through to Patreon, support the channel, and also Instagram, where there's over 2,100 photos that, of course, you can follow and see as further games of this are in fact played and demonstrated. Okay, so in Pret-a-Porter, as I said, it is a French phrase meaning ready to wear, and a little bit of an Easter egg going on there. It's never mentioned in the rulebook, I think I mentioned that, and I was a little surprised why it wasn't in fact mentioned. And I felt it was something that even on the Kickstarter I couldn't recall seeing. So I have got some 2 cards to start off with. These are little things I could work towards, things I can help myself get, and they're quite evenly distributed depending on who you're playing as. These are going to get shuffled up, so you're going to of course have your starting deck shuffled up and reveal these in these locations. Now, I will start not necessarily telling a review, but a little comparison, and I feel Grand Austria Hotel has a similar kind of feel in the sense that you're looking to get certain resources to complete certain tasks. This came out before Grand Austria Hotel, at least the 1st edition did as well. You're also going to need some money. Now, just to make it efficient, it's 40 money each, but I'm going to just take 2 20s, just to show you that it's quite easy. All the money is the same size, and they all have a slightly different coloration as well to them. So we have other things over here. What we have over here are various ribbons you can use for various garments, with certain garments costing a bit more, but ultimately you can get more things back. You have prestige tokens we can get back onto, 1s, 2s and 3s. You have some quality over here, some public relations tokens, some trendy tokens as well. So bottom of the board, I'll just do it from bottom upwards potentially. You can take these quality tokens. So yeah, you have rather good taste currently. You've gone for some quality gear. Maybe you are having some items which are rather popular, and those PR tokens can go out too. So it comes in this like pre-game trade kind of container, which is rather handy. And also, of course, we'll need to dip into the 5s over here as well. Every resource, by the way, is infinite, so you can keep on getting more as you need to. You're going to need to choose your player colour. Now, I've kind of got this red colour going on, so I think I'll stick to that. That needs to go on your board over here. And what that's doing is just letting you remind yourself that, of course, you are interested in being particularly good at making shirts, and therefore are more trendy when you're making them. So it's quite good for being more bankable. So we'll chuck this all out. Red, to be honest, wasn't perhaps a wise choice just against the board. But here we go. So they're coming out here. Let's just leave a couple more out, or 3 out, just to show you in comparison where somebody else can go. Somebody last played orange yesterday. So a little bit more about this game. Obviously, I'm quite interested in the look out of the board. It's like Fields of Valor. You can also check that out on the channel. That look and feel, based on obviously being a portrait style board as opposed to perhaps more typically a horizontal board, a portrait board. Okay, we've also got various other things to put out. We have some buildings we can put out as well. They always have to be on this side up, saying upgrade to. So you're going to shuffle them, turn them upside down, shuffle them and place them out as well. Just note you have to get rid of these cards first. That is for the final 3 months of the year. Yes, fashion is all about keeping up with trends, and this interest we need to be keeping in vogue, and to keep in vogue we need to ensure that over these 12 months we're able to put on some fantastic exhibitions over 4 different seasons of the year. So we have 1, 2, 3, January, February, March, or whenever the fashion season starts, looking to see who's the trendiest, get some prestige for that, going all the way down through the end of the final month of the year, where of course you can then have some fantastic exhibitions going out, and then ultimately you're going to cash up, so your cash and your total victory points awarded based on handing in some prestige as we go through it to see if you are the victor. So these are some cards, these are some victory cards. They can go here, they can go sideways. I think vertical is fine. We're going to go on to some people you can hire. So we have some experienced models, but of course, firstly, they need to be a model. So these are always put to the train 2 side. We've been shuffling these up as well, perhaps them upside down first, and of course revealing. So these go into these little gaps here. Doesn't have to be a recessed board, and of course it isn't in this instance, but you can see where they're going. And that's going to go over here. And then we have the next bit. So we have some contracts. So we have some contracts to go out as well. So in this instance, we're trying to get out some certain people we want to be dealing with, and they're going out here as well. So some of the terminology, by the way, is kind of interchangeable, but I'm just trying to be consistent with as and when you can see these various things. So Instagram, of course, I don't think it was around 10 years ago, so hence this version has that kind of stuff on it too. Just remember the Pret-a-Porter 3rd edition has this quite clear contrasting blue and kind of a rose hint to it. I mentioned about these cards, just leave them in the box for the time being. You're going to have to deal with these when we get onto this final bit. Very straightforward. When it's that bit, you're going to shuffle and deal out those cards respectively for these bits. And that's around cleanup, which I'll get back onto. So what else? We have our board here. Remember our board with our jacket on it. You need some more tokens. This is do upkeep, and you will need some stickers, which if you see my other video, you'll see how that works. You're going to take out your sticker, and it's going to have a -1 on it. It could go up instead. It's going to start on -3, because presently we have 3 employees. Yes, we have a small fashion house, and you're needing to actually fulfill their wages to make sure they are not striking. And if you're watching in France, that could well be a thing. So please be aware of that. Aside from that, you are also need to be aware of some symbology. So here is around upkeep. And as you can see, we have upkeep phases every single quarter. It happens twice in the first of these quarters. And in the final one, we have a bit of a model display going on the exhibition. So I will leave this out a bit. As you can see, it's a fairly big board. Let's crack on and do the rest of the bits as well. So we've got some cards. We can decide who starts. You can just randomize that and see who starts. And then I know, of course, got everything else still in shot. Let's just move this out of the way slightly. So like I said, this does have a Kickstarter stuff in it as well. None of it's been drawn so far, but ultimately, just so you don't get confused, we have some extra cards here, some pirates. Each of the different colors in here represent a different artist as well, which I'll talk about there in the review. So we have our board here. We don't worry about that. We can just use as our NPC. So right now I'm thinking, well, what do I want to do? Remember, we have a 12-round game, of which there are 8 key elements to the game. There's one other bit to bring out, which are these randomizers. So these are the various things we're going to score each round. So in this first quarter, the first exhibit we're going to be giving off, the thing that scores best is going to be the size of our collection. The size of the collection is however many of these various different models, these various different articles that we have that we can fulfill. So those go there. And for those final 3 bits or 4 bits, that's all around that final season. Now, as I'm starting, I will take the starting player marker. It never changes per round, but there is a variant that you could play, an advanced variant. So again, these can be randomized out. And in this instance, in a 2-player game, that does vary slightly, but in all the player counts, only one person has been scoring the highest amount. In this instance, you're scoring 4 prestige. In these rounds, whoever does best scores 4 prestige. In a 2-player game, The first person, so this person will be the most trendiest person, gets 4 prestige. The second person will get 1 prestige. From then on, only the first person of the most quality gets 3, 2 and 1. And if it's a tie, you go down to the next thing. So I'm going to start off. Well, I've got some items here, so you can either start engine building, getting something which lets me draw some more model cards, maybe get some quality. Right now, quality isn't high on the agenda of scoring, and I can start thinking about actually getting some yellow ribbons or some red, white or purple. I look down here. These are various places I can go. I can go to the bank and get some money. I've got 40 money. I didn't go to the bank last time at all, last time I played, nor did my opponent. Instead, I could go here and be the first person, and I get the first pick of picking one of these cards, and then they might go and follow me because they're after something up here too. But of course, it does really depend on if they're after something and you're after something, but what they're after is not what you want as well. Okay, so you're going here and here. These are places you can go, spaces you can go to. In a 4-player game, you can go here, otherwise you cannot. So over here, I'm thinking, well, let's make it quite straightforward. I want to go and maybe pick a model, but now I've got things to fulfill. I'm going to go to position 6, and you'll see what will happen. Now they're going to go somewhere. Let's just say they go here. I go here as well. They go here. I go here. And they go up here. Then you resolve. That's how quick a round is. Now, one thing I forgot to put out is the little time marker. So we placed out everything. That's it. If we go to scoring, we do upkeep. So what do I have to spend? Well, right now I have to spend 3. So you're spending your money equal to the amount of people you have. So you're spending your 3. You're then going on to the next round. Sorry, then you're going through all this. So now we've got no one's picked any of these locations. This person will pick a card. Then that'll be left out of space. Then this person will pick one of these, be replaced. Sorry, it won't get replaced yet. Apologies for that. Then I get to pick a thing. So right now I can pick, say, yellow. I'm going to take one of these things. I'm going to spend 6 money. So that's going to be gone down. And it's my turn again. And I go over here and I take a red. So I'm going to take a red. So now I've taken that. That comes off. I've got my red thing. Then it's who's next? It's their turn. And now it's going to be my turn. Now, when I go here, I get a quality. So this get quality piece. It will go my quality piece of my board. So this goes over here. And then it's going to be, in this instance, I can do it again. So I get another quality over here. I get 2 because it's more valuable. It does cost me a bit more though. So bear that in mind. And that continues, etc. So that is 1 round. We've done it. Then these cards go away, those goes away, those goes away. Into the discard, more cards are replenished. Rinse, repeat. So you start with that first player again, picking that first location. In this instance, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start filling this up and completing my my model. So now I've completed that. And now imagine we've moved on to round 3. It's going to be scoring. So I'm thinking, right, well, I've now completed both of my models, but you can only sell 1 collection. And 1 collection is one thing they have in common. Might be something to do with the fact they have takeaway items because they're casual. Maybe it's because they've got certain dress types. This is more important for me because if I can sell a collection, I'm going to score 1 trendiness points because I'm selling something that matches what I have here. So when I sell, remember we're in the selling phase now, we've done all those things a few times, we've picked some cards, they've helped us out, we've got various cards going down here, replacing our values, which you can upgrade, remember, and these always happen first. In this instance, if you go here, it allows you to actually pick someone before somebody else will pick there. So these cards give you advantage to go ahead of other people. It kind of breaks the order of play, which is very important. Over here, you can gain a PR when it's this phase, so it's once every quarter. So you could be getting PR, bit of a PR engine going on, various other things. Some of these cards go away when once you've upgraded them because they've used up their shelf life. So I'm going to get some trendy tokens because I'm selling. That's happened. Then what's going to happen is, of course, like I said, we're going to the scoring and we're going to score. So right now I'm scoring more because I've got some more trendy tokens. So in this instance, I'm also selling more cards. Maybe I'm just selling 1 and they haven't actually gone anywhere because of like worker placement. I've blocked them from going there. So I've actually stolen from them, but maybe they've built up some fantastic army for future rounds. And then we're going to score the next thing. So I'll score 4 prestige. If they haven't got anything, they won't score anything. Then we do trend. I might have some more trendiness, so I might get 3 points, I might get anything. Then we move on to quality. Again, I've got some more quality maybe, so I've won that round. And hopefully PR as well, you never know. Or maybe they did, because they went over here. I didn't mind that because other things scored better. And then we go into round 4. And this instance, then we're going to go through it all over again. And what we're doing here, again, you want to be aware of the fact that trendiness is scoring. So now that would have been spent. Oh, and also, sorry, you sell. So you're going to be selling. equal to the size of your collection. So I'm scoring 24 money for selling this because it's been rather trendy, and obviously it's a completed collection now. So I'm going to sell equal to my stuff. Now what gets interesting is from the second quarter onwards, when you want to sell, you can sell your victory points or gain victory points equal to the number of players. So if you're a two-player game, you're going to gain victory points equal to prestige. So I've accrued some prestige, let's say with 4, let's say 9 prestige. I'll sell that for 9 victory points, and then we're moving back on to, of course, a regular round. So a regular round, a working round, starts around 4. You're going through it all again. And I said, just to recap, aim of the game, place things out, get things, help them with your engine to ultimately get a better fashion line going. Improve your fashion line, complete certain, obviously, requirements, some certain fabric and materials, your blueprints, and ultimately that is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get more victory points than anybody else, which is a combination of cash, accruing cash by selling these guys, and of course trying to figure out when you should go for these various bonuses. The bonuses are a bit like in the game Wingspan. They can change a little bit, but I kind of prefer this layout by far. My rating for this is presently 7.8. I rate it very highly, higher than actually what it is regarded as. It's currently like 7.4. Aside from that, yeah, you do have to put your own stickers on. The board can look a little noisy. It can look a bit tricky to see what you're looking for. But aside from that, the only other sort of minor quibble is, like I said, the rulebook, you kind of have to jump forth and back quite a few times, and there's no kind of player aid as well, which is a bit of a nuisance. And there isn't any iconography in here around the model symbol. So some of these cards will allow you to actually trigger things at certain times, but just because you know when that's triggering, it doesn't necessarily imply you know when that's going to trigger. So we talked about various things, contracts, we have buildings, we have employees. Like I said, there's various things in there. Gorgeous box, one of the top 10 for me of like 1,800 different games I've played. Definitely one of the favourite boxes I've seen. It's a Wonderful World, looks very similar, but it's a different artist. If you want to see other games by Portal, I do have Alien Artifacts I'll be bringing to the channel in due course, so I look forward to bringing to you that. I like the idea that it's bonuses, like the Grand Austria Hotel, that has dice, it's a dice placement game, so it's similar in that respect. Obviously I like you have options here, you can go down here, I can choose to just grab some PR, or I could see someone else might be jumping over here and I want to jump there first, and then it turns out that they were just trying to, I don't know, distract me and go somewhere else. It isn't a long game to play. I expect this to be a long time. That first game, it was under 2 hours, and you can play it in about 60 minutes. It's a 60 to 90 or 90 to 100. Yes, it's not a long game. It's just explaining the various locations, and you will get some analysis paralysis thinking where you can go. If in doubt, in my view, 6, 7, 8, there are cards up here which actually let you say, if you have this card, you can go here first. So lots of the times it is better to consider going a bit negative, spending a bit of cash. I think the lowest cash we got down to was about 6, if that, maybe 1. Sometimes you can get very low. But one place I did not talk about was the bank. And the bank is all around actually how bankable you are. How many collections do you have? How many collections work with what you have here to enable you to actually improve that amount? So if you've got, say, 1 collection, well, you can get 10 money from the bank, you can get 20 if you've got 2. So there's various things to consider. I like the fact that these starting cards are always different in the sense that you'll never get anything that's efficient and combos. Otherwise, of course, that's too strong for you to try and actually deal with. The cards are nice. They are not too thin, but definitely thinner than they are thick. But they work. The iconography, everything seems to make sense. When it says gain, you're just gaining it when, of course, the certain thing is coming up. If that is something to be aware of. Like I said, this has been, I believe, a thorough explanation of actually how to play the game, but please do let me know. I feel like it has gone a bit back and forth, but equally, I think it's straightforward. You're going to location and you're taking that thing, and those things are helping you to decide on how on earth you're going to try and focus on these things. Remember, those cards will go away, so it's whether you want to work on getting some really good cards that are helping you, of course, with your secret ability, but equally, do you want to try and take something which prevents somebody else from actually going there as well? If you can make sure that they're not getting their trendy bonus, and that's quite important if you've already got something else going on. Maybe you've taken that 9 position to try and grab that trendiness token first. I think, I like the idea of the scoring tracker out the outside. I think it would have been quite nice potentially if there was some kind of triggered bonus. I don't know if that would work. I don't know if that could be play tested. But if you reached a certain destination first, there might be something in it for you. Having said that, that might be a bit of a breaking of the game, because then it might imply that, well, you're already ahead, you're getting something else. So it's a bit of a difficult one, but it just felt like it could have had something like that. But then certain things in the rules clarify how well these things work. Of course, you do need to make sure you do have those separate cards for 10, 11 and 12. And of course, be wary of course, your bank balance. You definitely don't want to be caught short with not being able to pay people's bills. And that's where you're able to diversify in this game. Something else that people have noted is it can have quite wide-ranging scores. I don't know how else that can be balanced. This might be where, I don't know, something like that is a factor, but then that could well stagnate the play of the game itself. So that's something to be aware of. Aside from that, of course, it's a very fun theme. It's an interesting time when you're saying to someone who you haven't really gamed with before, hey, do you want to play this game? The person brought some cashews, and we happened to have some heart-shaped bowls with it, which was rather interesting when they were talking about their fancy and stuff like that. So it's definitely a fun game. Like I said, it was enjoyable to play. Didn't feel like it was too brain-burnery. There's not too many options, which actually helps. I think it works to its advantage, that there's not too many places whereby you feel like it can go. You know these things are coming up. You know they're going to kick in. You know all of them are eventually going to kick in as well. Storage is very good. In terms of baggies, I'm not saying you need to have loads of plastic baggies, but it is missing potentially 6 or so, I would say. Each of these locations, each of the ribbons came bagged up, as you may have recalled from the other video. Having said that, when you're chucking all the money, there's not enough space for all the ones to go in. So there's some times whereby you're having to bear that in mind and realise that some of these things are going to be loose, and depending on how you store your games, that might be a bit of a concern when you're actually short of stuff. I also think it'd be nice if you could baggy things individually so you can handle that as well. And that means, of course, that you're able to get this game to the table quicker and have less downtime. If you have any questions about this, of course, you do have those comments and descriptions you can get back to me on. And hopefully you have found this of interest. Hopefully Ignacy is able to check this out and have his view as well. Of course, these cards as well would be nice if they were baggied up and placed somewhere really helpfully. I do like this runway. I think it's nice to have this runway idea. Obviously, you're starting at the bottom of the card going upwards. I mentioned the different artists in the game. There's nothing that I didn't like. I liked all of it very much. Found it very enjoyable. Yeah, brilliant designs. They've done a really good job going to town with this, I feel. And in terms of player count and the variability, I don't have any issues at all with it. It will take longer with more players because you're each waiting for someone to go somewhere. So yes, you are looking at 2 hours with 4 players, and that is something to bear in mind. It's not a long game, but you might find there's nothing really to do on your turn until it gets around to you. So there's no real way of, I guess, balancing that. There's nothing else that you can really be doing other than saying, well, I need this resource to get that. If this doesn't go, of course, you can go to that bottom position and get something down there too. Now, this does go in here. It's a bit of a squeeze, and also for those 4 player boards, it's a little strange that when you place it in here, place it in loose, it kind of fits, and then you can put this on top, and it's quite a wide, quite deep box, deeper than usual. You could put 3 of these across, 1, 2, 3, that would kind of fit there, as you can tell. But the downside is that the 4th player box, well, where do you go there? It has to kind of go down that gap, which just feels a little strange. So that does go in there. So, a bit odd that one. Let's leave these cards in there for the time being. But yeah, that has been Pret-a-Porter, a very fun game and very enjoyable. Probably my favourite, I must admit, of Ignacy's so far. There we go. Look forward to trying out many more though. This has been AmassGames. Bye.